So there was disagreement in the church all the way back. There and public. I mean, so public that they wrote it down.
Imagine if Monson and Nelson just got to battle it out over whether Mormon's a good name or not.
They do disagree.
Yes.
They've always disagreed. They do today, they disagree. But we all pretend like they don't.
I advise you to take my counsel on the matters here involved.
I think you get lured into the trap of thinking that disagreement is inherently bad.
The following is an episode of Ward Radio and does not represent the thoughts or the opinions of KHTS, its owners, or any of its affiliates, nor does it represent the official opinion of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. With that said, sit back, relax, and enjoy the program. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Ward Radio. I'm your host, Cardinellis, and today I'm joined in the studio by Kwaku L. and I almost said Brad Whitbeck, Jonah Barnes, the new Brad Whitbeck, today at least. And we got a good counsel here, and we're going to talk a little bit about an interesting topic you brought up, Jonah and Kwaku. Your conversation was so interesting, I decided that we should actually make it a conversation topic. Should apostles disagree publicly? Now, this kind of flies in the face of the general church culture, but as we know, culture is not doctrine. I've heard some interesting videos about how the brethren make decisions in councils, but at the same time, the younger generation, as we did in our second or third biggest video to this day, is still the revolution the brethren did not see coming, where we analyze the difference between an older generation's desire for loyalty versus a younger generation's desire for authenticity. Okay. And the historical precedent in both scripture and kind of modern church history of apostles disagreeing vocally and in very public ways, which who knows, for better or for worse, it was a thing, shall we say. So who wants to take this from the top? Why or why not do you think apostles should or should not disagree publicly? This is some saucy stuff.
Kwaku, tell us what you think, and then I'll explain why you're wrong.
Okay, well, I'm a little under the weather, so my voice sounds a little bit weird.
Don't make excuses. Don't make excuses.
So I think there's something cool about seeing your guys publicly open the battleground of ideas. Right, you have all these
like blood sport here. Like what?
No. Okay, so here's the example. You have all these, right wing guys who really love and subscribe to the Daily Wire, and they like watching Peterson and Michael Knowles and those guys discuss these topics and sometimes disagree. And there's something to that because when you open the battleground of ideas, you're educating everyone. You're putting forth the best possible. You're saying, look, this is what I think is the best possible solution for this problem, or the best possible explanation for this phenomenon in society. I think if the apostles did that, it could work wonders. It could be really, really cool. We would look at them, at least my generation, could see a lot of them as less of like suits and more of like, okay, these are some intellectual guys. And it would save us from a lot of heartache.
Okay, so are you saying that like in order to attract Zoomers that the apostles should behave more like Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh at the Daily Wire?
No. Ben Shapiro's a dork.
Kwaku's a huge Daily Wire fan.
Well, actually, if you think about it, if you look at it, I've never touched a woman and she's enjoyed it.
No,
I'm not into. But dude, no, he's a little elf. But I will say it would save us heartache too. Imagine if Monson and Nelson just got to battle it out over whether Mormon's a good name or not.
I would.
Wow.
That would have been great. Because remember...
And by the way, everybody would be happy then, because then the Mormons that were pro calling it, oh, there I am.
Yeah.
Now the members that were pro not abandoning the term Mormon would be like, yeah, dude, man, that apostle that was fighting for us, yeah, that's my guy. And then all the ones that are against it were like, oh yeah, that other one was my guy. And instead of everybody being unhappy about the decision...
There can be unity in division, because it's true. There's something about like... I'll explain. Nelson has hated the word Mormon forever. He gave that talk back when Hinckley was prophet and said, don't say it. And then Hinckley gave a talk right after, was like, you should say it. And then Monson was, I loved Monson. Monson was like,
Monson.
dare to be a Mormon, dare to stand alone, dare to have a purpose. You know, he was so into the whole I'm a Mormon campaign. It's almost like Monson wanted to rub it in Nelson's face, like, hey, I know you're coming up after me. Try cleaning this up. Like, he just was really into it and put Mormon everywhere. Everywhere was the word Mormon. I think a little bit to spite Nelson. I can't prove it, but watching Nelson have to clean it up is objectively funny. And so now we have Nelson saying, don't say Mormon. To omit the name of the Lord is a victory for Satan. So let's rename the Mormon Tabernacle Choir, even though we're just calling it the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square, which isn't the name of the Lord. So you know what I mean? So my thought is, look, if we could have just seen these guys have a conversation with Bednar moderating, and he's like, look, here's why I think it's bad. Here's why I think it's good. The people who think it's bad could be like, as opposed to feeling like, oh, gosh, the church is saying I have to think this now when I don't. They could be like, yeah, I'm a Monson Mormon.
Yes.
I'm still a member. It's like Democrats. Yeah, I'm a Kennedy Democrat. I'm not one of those AOC crazies. You know what I mean? You get to. It would be really nice to have that in our church because there can be unity and division.
By the way, every single time you say unity and division, I can't help but think of V for Vendetta. When the but Chancellor Creedy gets up and he's like, strength through unity, unity through faith. It's like every time there's a slogan like that.
Movie, dude. That's a really good movie.
Yeah, great movie.
Well, by the way, when you read my the Ward Radio comic book script that is getting drawn right now, we quote 3 times from V for Vendetta.
Oh shoot.
You know? Yeah, and you wear a mask of Saint Germain. Or the Count of Saint Germain.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Just like how, what was the movie where they all wore the masks of the presidents when they were robbing the bank? Point Break.
Point Break.
Just like in that original Keanu Reeves movie, Point Break, they all wore president's masks. You wear a mask of the Count of Saint Germain, and I wear a mask of Guy Fawkes. Yeah, it's pretty sick.
No, I remember
sounds amazing.
When I was a little kid, I watched V for Vendetta, and I was like, "Whoa, this is cool." And maybe that was the beginning of my, anarchistic, radical beliefs.
My favorite movie, dog.
Amazing movie.
Yeah. So anyway, you can keep saying division is
there can be unity through division.
I'd appreciate it if I could just make your face a little bit bigger and I could bump up your audio. Be like, there can be unity through division.
I would go hardcore at the character. I just can't. I'm a little under the weather. But I'd go hard. I'd commit more if I could. So
I have to remind them why they need us.
That's my thought. I think they should publicly disagree. I think it'd be healthy. We're too coddled. Everyone's like, oh, they all agree. No, they don't. Did you guys remember the live broadcast they finally announced when they announced that Nelson was going to be prophet? And they kind of did the announcement to the press first before they did it in general conference?
Yeah.
Go watch Uchtdorf's face throughout that whole video. He looks not happy. He's like...
So we do excommunication via tabloid now, and we also do a church presidential nomination and prophet nomination
sustaining
via the media now.
I'm not sure if that ever happened before, but I watch Uchtdorf's face. He looks mad, and there's even a part where Holland grabs his hand and gives him a little hey, hang in there, bud, squeeze.
He got kicked out of the presidency.
Uchtdorf did not look happy, and he was not hiding
come on, who cares, bro? You're one of the apostles. You're legend for life, dog. Who cares?
I'm trying to feed John DeLynn and RFM some good conspiracy fuel here. He was kicked out of the presidency. Some scandal going on behind the curtain.
Well, look, I don't know all the details. I'm just saying, I thought it was interesting. I think they should publicly disagree. I think it'd be funny.
Well, here's my question:
Right.
Is
not funny. I think it'd be fun, not funny.
well, can you back up your claim? Like what do you have any when people go to MBA school? My father said this very interestingly. When he got his MBA and he went to business school to get his master's, he said, really all it is just learning story after story of the success and failure of multiple companies, what led into it and what led them out of it, so that if you're ever stuck in a situation, you have stories that you can refer to of how people got out of bad situations. And he jokingly said, that's the only thing you do to get your MBA is learn about how other companies started and failed and what succeeded, what didn't. So hopefully you can apply those lessons, right? Do you have any stories or any evidence of your claim that you could apply to this thesis of it being beneficial that apostles actually disagree publicly? Can you point to anything?
Hubie Brown, Ezra Taft Benson.
Okay, what were they arguing about?
Ezra Taft Benson would go give these talks around the country, and he was always getting reprimanded by the first presidency because he would get really political. And he got to go into what he's famous for, right?
Yeah.
To watch out for communism, constitutions inspire that whole thing.
Okay, cool.
I put a picture of Hugh B. Brown in the Discord for you.
But
Okay, cool. I'm going to pull this up, baby.
I also put 2 pictures in Discord that, so make sure not to click on mine. Click on Jonas, because mine are going to be something funny.
Okay,
But
cool.
so Hugh B. Brown though was liberal, and
That's
Benson
what
would
was
go and
wrong
give
with
talks
him. Okay.
that were very conservative, and Hugh B. Brown would track where he's going to give a talk, and he would go give a talk right after Benson to tell the stakes. Elder Benson's free to share his opinion, but he's wrong.
Wait, Hugh B. Brown would track Ezra Taft Benson's
Literally,
talks
absolutely.
and go to the same congregation
Yes.
just to kind of mop up?
Yes. Yes, this is well documented. People have tried to downplay it. It's well documented. They did not get along. And Eldon Tanner and Benson as well had some beef, because Eldon Tanner was Canadian and a little more socialist leaning, and Benson hated socialists. And there's an apocryphal story from the church office building of Eldon Tanner. I think it was with Benson, but I'm not sure. It may have been Benson or like Mark or Peterson. But basically saying like he wanted to punch him in the face because of how like
Oh, jeez.
like they had a conversation. He was like, this guy's saying that, you know, anyone like people on the left are satanic. You want to say it to my face? Like these guys. Remember,
Back when men were men and apostles carried black powder rifles.
also remember this. These guys were the apostles during the waspy era. Like when businessmen would sit around in suits with the cigars and like grab the female's butt, like, toots. Like
That's more like the 20s. I wouldn't say that's Mad Men era, you know.
No,
By then there was
30s,
just-
40s, definitely. 30s, 40s, 50s.
okay.
Now, remember, we were the apostles, but, like, our apostles are always a little bit kind of like the business guys, you know?
Kwaku L, sole proprietor of Young and Dumb and Utah's modern Barnum and Bailey, the stalwart example of standing up for women and
Hey, I am very pro-woman.
Oh, boy. Should I go? Should I let you two? So listen.
We're pro. I'm just saying, look.
we're just disagreeing publicly.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what you wanted, Quaker.
Hey,
And we all agree, we all subscribe to his Instagram profile, and it's
right.
I'm supporting my buddy.
it's good marketing. Hey, look, let's not pretend Cardin in the show has not made a comment about how much he loves women, all right? Cardin on the show has a long track record of...
I married a Victoria's Secret model. I would have, I just like a connoisseur of fine wines, has good taste. You know, I have good taste.
I feel like this is exactly what a disagreement between the brethren would sound like.
Exactly not. No.
Yeah.
But
Put your mic in your face more.
So that's my thought.
Okay.
I think they should probably disagree.
Well, let me explain why you're completely wrong.
All right.
Ooh.
He's gonna say actually how I'm right.
Okay, so in the Discord, there's a little snippet from Galatians 2, Paul's epistole
Ooh, Galatians
to the
2.
Galatians,
Okay.
or as they say in France, the Galatiotinos.
Okay.
I don't think that's accurate.
Is this
That's
Acts
totally
11,
accurate.
Galatians
Please,
2?
Quaker,
Here we
please.
go. Okay, so here's Galatians 2.
Okay, so yeah, well, Quaker, actually, you're not wrong. I completely agree with you 1,000%, which is kind of ironic because we're talking about how we should disagree, and I'm saying that I agree with you. This is kind of meta.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Seriously. It's like a dream within a dream in Inception.
within a dream.
Okay.
Got to spin the top, see if we're... Okay, so Peter is talking about... So back in the day, Peter and Paul argued with each other. They got in arguments. And it sounds pretty harsh, right? So Paul's saying, when Peter came to Antioch, I withstood him to his face because he was to be blamed. And he talks about how there were some uncircumcised Gentiles that were hanging out, and Peter and the brethren at Jerusalem didn't want to eat with them. And so Paul got really angry with him, and he's like, that's not what Jesus would have taught. And then there's another little snip I put in there in the Discord from Acts chapter 11. Talks about the same thing. It says, the apostles and brethren in Judea, this is Acts 11, verse 1.
Okay.
When they heard the Gentiles had received the word of God, when Peter was come up to Jerusalem, they that were of the circumcision, so these are the apostles and brethren in Judea, contended with him, saying, thou wentest in to men uncircumcised and didst eat with them. And then the rest of the chapter is Peter explaining he got a revelation that they should also get the gospel.
Okay.
So there was disagreement in the church all the way back. There and public. I mean, so public that they wrote it down in their official, in like the book of Acts, they wrote it down. That would be like an elder, an apostle coming out and saying, hey, I had this huge disagreement with Uchtdorf, and I just want to explain it all for everybody here in general conference, and then reading the transcript of their argument.
Yeah, just saying like, shut up about the stupid planes. Just like enough of the planes, dog. He's like, but the planes are a universal analogy. You know what I'm saying?
We get it about the planes.
Well, I honestly, I mean, like that. I think I think it'd be cool to see. And in addition, it would help because everyone has like their prophet that had certain teachings that we kind of go. Eh. For example, a lot of members of the church kind of discount a lot of what Joseph Fielding Smith had to say.
Really?
Right?
Why?
He was big into the evolution's not real.
Was he big into it, or is that just the anti-Mormon? Because I got to tell you,
go read
I don't
his stuff.
trust 99% of these criticisms against past prophets now, because almost all of them have been brought to light by anti-Mormons who are so brain damaged by their hatred of the church that like some guy can't say, I don't know if I buy that without being called like an anti-blank sacred cow, right?
Well, I don't think anti-Mormons are running hard and fast with like evolution debate.
Well, but
back the fact of the matter is, though, he was an anti-evolutionist, and he had a lot of his teachings were kind of borrowed from Seventh-day Adventists. He was a big fan of the Seventh Days, and I mean, it's nothing wrong with that, but a lot of people don't necessarily drive with it. Or like, I'm pretty sure he was the guy that was like, if you have sex, it should only be in the missionary position, like stuff like that. When people were like,
really,
yeah, and like, so,
his
and like,
poor wife,
Marky Peterson. You know, okay, Marky Peterson had some interesting, like, opinions, too. Like, he was the guy, he gave a devotional at BYU before the priesthood ban, and he was like, brothers and sisters, I'm not a racist. I think every Negro should own a Cadillac. And everyone's like, what are you talking about?
What the?
Whoa. Yeah, he was weird.
Statement.
Yeah, no, he was the guy who gave that random talk about Adam in conference. He was like, I'm going to tell you about the nature of Adam. And everyone's like, why? Like, he was kind of a weird, but like, everyone's got some of their apostles that they're like, yeah, I don't really trust what they have to say. And we were talking
Ahmed
about
Corbett. He's my boy right now. Ahmed Corbett.
Yeah, it's cool dude.
Oh, I know him.
Cool dude.
Well, we were talking about my prophet that I just kind of don't like. He was a nice man. I don't know how much I believe what he has to say, and I won't say who it is. Should I say?
Well, look. The point is that they do disagree.
Yes,
they've always disagreed. They do today. They disagree. But we all like pretend like they don't.
Yes.
That's my problem, is that we kind of like fool ourselves into thinking that they're just, all of them are plugged in like the board from Star Trek.
And they say that they disagree. Did you see that really interesting video done on the importance of councils in the church? Where, before his passing, I believe Brother Ballard talked about, are you familiar with the video that talks about like the importance of councils, the importance of committees? You know, here, let me see if I can. I'm going to look this up. If you just go and you Google the importance of committees here, okay, then a couple of things come. Okay, here we go. I think I found it right here. So it's actually like a mini documentary, and it's 22 minutes. Okay, so we're not going to watch the whole thing, but I'll just go to the beginning here. And it's one of those like inside church headquarters things. We'll just take a minute and you'll see like the opening 3 statements are really interesting. Okay.
Role of councils in the church.
Okay, so here we go. Inside church headquarters. Check this out.
Counsel, there is wisdom.
That's Oaks.
Yeah, exactly.
When the prophet Joseph Smith was called, he taught the world, and he taught all of us for the first time, the first principle about the plan of salvation is that our Heavenly Father introduced it in a great council in heaven.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So as Latter-day Saints, we begin with councils.
I think it is important to know that these councils, their purpose is really one work. The gospel is being brought to all people of the world, to all tongues, to all countries, to all nations, irrespective of their geographic or political situation.
A council is a time when people gather to try to understand and come to an agreement and set goals and objectives that will make a difference in their organization.
Okay, so anyway, he goes on to go into detail and say, look, sometimes there's times we don't agree, and we got to come back and we got to talk. And I don't want to put words into his mouth because I'm probably going to botch it. But there's an entire 15 to 22 minute mini documentary on how the church makes a lot of its most important decisions, and even how they solve disagreements. I think he said something along the lines of like, we don't leave on difficult decisions until all of us unanimously agree on the decision, which would require, if that's the rubric, which is, I think I'm grateful that I was given that insight into how the Quorum of the 12 Apostles operates. If that's the rubric, that is divine. Like, that's a lot of deliberation, to meet a universal standard. Now, I've heard that sometimes they haven't got along, such as like on COVID and things like that. So I'm not sure what's what's real.
Like, I get the intent is to put on the same face. It's one work that we're all agreed or whatever. I think what Kwaku's saying is that we know that you all disagree, and it's okay. I think you get lured into the trap of thinking that disagreement is inherently bad. And so when you're a member of the church and you disagree with something that your bishop does or your stake president does, it isn't just another person who disagrees. It's like you're outside the gospel of Jesus Christ. Contention is of the devil. You can't do that. If
contention is of the devil and we are the purest body, you're assumed to be spiritual and living your life worthily if you've made it up the ranks to become an apostle. Yeah. That'd be anathema to this idea of spiritual purity. The contention is amongst us.
I think
but that's our foolish cultural problem.
Yes.
Thinking that contention is inherently evil.
Yes. And well, we could do a whole episode on how we need more contention. But I think what Kwaku's saying is that it smacks of being disingenuous. It looks fake. Wait, you're telling me you all agree about everything all the time, no matter what it is?
What if that is what they're saying, though? And I don't view that as being disingenuous. If a guy says, we don't leave this room until we get it right, and we simply don't show you how we argue.
That usually just means that until a couple people cave. That's usually what that means. So? Yeah.
Well, but what was
wrong? How do you know, and who? Who do you see caving? What Dallin H. Oaks?
I'm just saying in committees in general.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Like, so many times on a ward council, I wish there was more disagreement.
Okay.
But I think people are afraid because they're like, because contention is of the devil, and if they say anything outside of the lane, then it's not treated. I mean, JosephSmith and his School of the Prophets, they were arguing. It was knock down, drag out, bare knuckle arguments they were having over things in the council, in the School of the Prophets, and they were all cool with it. And Joseph loved it, and he would even say, "Stop silencing your opinions. I want to hear everybody's opinion on this." And they'd argue till they were blue in the face, and they were cool with it. So I don't know. I think we're too timid, and we lose ideas.
So what can we do to seed more contention?
Yes,
in order to build the kingdom. It's like subversively building the kingdom. Like, so should we just go around saying, "Hey, yo, Russell M. Nelson, dude, I heard what Dallin H. Oaks said to freaking, the guy that flies all the airplanes, Uchtdorf. I heard he was talking about that one decision you made, and I think you should argue about it in the elevator."
To be honest, I think the future of, like, I know we say, we're one heart, one mind, but I don't think that's necessarily as much of opinions as it is like our
goals.
Yeah. And I think we're gonna see. apostles disagreeing again. I think we're gonna see some interesting stuff happen. And
is that because of a generational passing? I mean, we have kept the same quorum of 12 apostles effectively since 1990. The year after my sister was born, 6 out of the 12 apostles that are there now were still here. I think now the data has changed, I think, with the passing of M. Russell Ballard. But basically, we've never had a 40-year period with less turnover in the Quorum of the 12 Apostles in church history than we have in the past 40 years.
Is that right? I bet you I believe that, though.
I would, I would take that forever to the bank. I've looked at all the data, and I mean, maybe I would not bet my life on that statement, but I'd bet a lot of money on it, because
here I'll give another example as to why we need to before we wrap up. Elder Peterson said, "Young boys," and we all know how much you disagree with Boyd K. Packer's little factory talk, right?
No, top 2.
Oh, really? A little to talk to. Creepy talk. It's creepy.
Ancestors. Have you ever seen the YouTube channel Orson Hyde that put it to funny comical music?
Yes, I've listened to it. Yeah. There's a talk that Marky Peterson gave where he said, young men, if you're tempted to touch night, or you should try tying your hands to your bed frame.
Oh, I heard this. Yeah, yes, I've heard this. Oh,
which is
man.
the most, which is dangerous, weird.
So cringe.
Yeah. So it's like, you know what? You can't tell me there wasn't one apostle in there who was like, what is this guy saying? What?
You could just see some apostle in the back be like,
Whoa, what time to the bedpost? What did I hear? What?
There had to be a couple like, how do we turn this mic off? Like, turn this
where's
guy's
the
mic
button?
off.
Where's the button? Just lower the podium.
So, I mean, obviously, I think it'd be fun. But again, everyone, you can pick your apostle battle. For example, I got in this. There's a guy on Twitter that was saying to me, "Hey," or X, I guess X was saying, "Hey, you know, when the church makes a declaration or statement, there it is. There's no disagreeing with it." And I said, "Well, like, I don't think it's necessarily so. The church is a vehicle. The church isn't the kingdom of God." And he said, "The church is the kingdom of God." And I gave the JosephSmith quote where JosephSmith says the church is not the kingdom of God. They're two separate things. He said, "Well, here's Elder Christopherson saying it is." It's like, okay, so you can pick your pick
is that
your
church
leadership.
with a little c or church with a big C?
No, it's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
And is that
specifically.
kingdom with a big K or kingdom with a little K?
Well, right there's an example of disagreement.
Yeah.
These are two priesthood authorities disagreeing over it.
And I'm right.
Yeah.
And Cardin's right.
Oh, wait, are you saying me and Kwaku are the recent authorities, or are you saying the others?
Oh,
are the recent
wait, are you
authorities?
guys not general authorities?
Well, we're
I
the
would never take that
worldwide.
job.
I've been calling you
Wigwam.
Elder L for years.
It actually wouldn't be Elder L.
Oh.
But anyway, but again, that was the show. Like the guy.
Yeah, your name
Sister
would be 15.
Yeah,
of those,
yeah.
But like, you know, there's Boyd K. Packer.
Yeah,
Kwaku's
all
name
the-
would be like KWZVVIXLE.
it'd be a lot.
You know.
But basically, it's like, hey, this is the point to show. They will disagree, even on certain doctrinal things, and you can always pick your apostle battle. It's so easy. You can say, well, this elder said this. Well, this elder said this. You can always do that. So I think public disagreement would be good. It'd be interesting to watch, and maybe that's the future there of the church. I don't know.
I think what
Final
you get
thoughts,
is,
Jonah. Hit it.
What you get is you are at risk of falling into the creed trap, where we all have creeds that everyone has to pledge allegiance to, right? And that's what they did in the 4th century. They were like, we can't have disagreement. We have to have a cage match of ideas and come up with these creeds. And the creeds are abominable. And we don't want to fall in that trap. It's okay, guys. You can disagree. You can passionately disagree. It doesn't mean you're not an apostle.
The creeds destroyed
okay.
Christianity. They strangled it, man.
It's okay. Like if you don't like what Uchtdorf says, that's fine. He's still an apostle. If you don't like what Gong says, I can't remember anything Gong's ever said, but if you don't like what Elder Gong says, it's okay. He's still an apostle of the Lord Jesus Christ. Like, it doesn't
Actually,
mean...
he's in a very safe position as an apostle. He's so boring and so milquetoast. You know what I'm saying? That he's literally... He's the neutron in the nucleus of the atom. You know how there's like protons and there's electrons? Like the protons, the electrons, those are the Boyd K. Packers. Those are the Russell M. Nelsons. Those actually not Russell M. Nelson. Sorry. Those are the Elder Hollands. Those are the Uchtdorfs, you know, just the lightning rods out there. And then there's the Gongs of this world. Just like that. I'm here. I'm sitting in my chair. I'm voting when I'm supposed to. And I think I've been assigned to the Springville 17th stake to do a nice little pre-sacrament meeting talk.
Elder Gong giving a special devotional tonight while you're going to sleep.
He's like the
ASMR.
Bob Ross of Mormonism.
Yes.
Elder Gong is like the Bob Ross of Mormonism. Wait, is it Bob Ross, the guy with the big perm?
Yes, that's exactly
That
right.
everybody would listen to go to sleep in
No,
the 70s.
Elder Gong. No, somebody listening to this knows Elder Gong. Tell him, we want to hear raw Elder Gong. We
Yeah,
don't want to
dude.
hear sterilized. We want to hear Elder Gong when he's had a bad day and he's really angry and
he's
just
like-
letting off. Like, we want to hear that.
Wants to come home and kick the dog and you know. That's hardcore, man.
Yeah, he's a boring guy.
Okay, so anyway, let's keep the comments.
Also, I'm tired of pretending that Suarez is really interesting too. Just because he has the accent doesn't mean he's delivering any haymakers.
They're junior guys. They gotta be careful as they're juniors, which I don't think they should. but
we got it, dude.
Well, they have to be, because McConkie ruined it for everyone.
How did he ruin it for everybody?
McConkie was way too bold with all of his talks and put so much out there to be so exciting, and then we had to kind of
reel him in.
Yeah, after a while, we're like, oh, I guess we should stop publishing this book. That isn't accurate. So now, after McConkie, all the apostles have to be kind of timid because you don't want to pull a McConkie.
They disagreed back. Look at this, another example. They were disagreeing. They were fighting back.
Yeah, but
then.
they also weren't publishing those disagreements as endorsements of Mormon doctrine that were indicting entire population sets.
Yeah, that was a little bit much.
Or have you read his letter? The letter to Professor. Oh crap! What's his name? Not Featherstone.
Nibley? Who?
He was a BB professor.
Reed Benson?
Is it Featherstone?
Featherstone?
Not Von J. Featherstone. Is it a Featherstone?
You're better at this stuff than I am, bro. Ooh, it's gotten so bad. You are consulting your iPhone.
Hey, but while you do that, check this out. So this is a statement that Joseph Fielding Smith made to a congressman about Ezra Taft Benson. Ezra Taft Benson was saying some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
There's a response. So Joseph Fielding Smith says to a congressman, and I put it in the Discord.
Okay.
Says to the congressman, hey, I have the comments regarding Brother Benson's speech in Logan, blah, blah, blah. I'm glad to report to you that it will be some time before we hear anything from Brother Benson again, who is now on his way to Great Britain, where I suppose he will be, at least for the next 2 years. When he returns, I hope his blood will be purified.
Yeah.
So Joseph Fielding Smith is like, because I guess Benson was saying some crazy stuff, and Joseph Fielding Smith was like, let's send him on a mission, get him out of here.
Yeah.
And so they shipped him to Great Britain, and he's like, don't worry, we shut him up for 2 years. That stuff happened. That happened.
That is funny. All right, Kwaku, before I finish this, did you find what you were looking? You found what you were looking for?
There's a guy named Eugene England who is a BB professor.
Oh yeah, the Givens just wrote a book on him, a biography.
Yeah. So McConkie hated him.
Oh,
I can't say he hated him, but there's a letter that McConkie wrote that got published online to Eugene England, and it is
like what, dude? Do tell, bro.
Oh, it's pretty rough.
What does he say? Like, thou art a thief and a grave robber? Like,
wow.
What does he say?
Brutal.
Let me find.
That's how all the youth.
I mean,
talk
I want
these
some
days.
serious tea here, bro, before you start saying like this was intense. I don't want some 1970s. I am very disappointed in your misinterpretations of the rapture.
I want a text message, text message fight, not an email fight.
Yeah, exactly. I want something hardcore between Eugene England and Bruce R. McConkie, because with those glasses, Bruce R. McConkie, man, he looks like he should have been right there next to McNamara, figuring out which one of the Vietnam villages were going to survive the next shipment of napalm. You know what I'm saying? The dudes that look like that, you're just like, woo!
Like, great example.
Was he a war criminal or not?
Bruce R. McConkie said some crazy stuff, but you listen to his last testimony and you're like, that guy's an apostle. If anybody's ever been an apostle, man, that guy's an apostle.
Yeah, boom shakalaka.
It's
so
okay.
Did you find the quote you're looking for?
So it's a long letter. So basically Eugene England was apparently talking about progression between kingdoms, and McConkie wrote him. And this is the ending of the letter.
McConkie didn't like the idea. Yeah.
I advise you to take my counsel on the matters here involved. If I err, that is my problem. But in your case, if you single out some of these things and make them the center of your philosophy and end up being wrong, you will lose your soul. One of the side effects of preaching contrary to what the brethren preach is to get a spirit of rebellion growing up in your heart. This sort of thing cankers the soul spiritually. It drives people out of the church. It weakens our faith. All of us need all of the faith and strength and spiritual stability we can to maintain our positions in the church and to work out our salvation. Now, I think I've said enough in this letter so that if you are receptive and pliable, you will get the message. If you are not, rebellion will well up in your heart. I pray for your well-being. I repeat, the door to my office is open. Perhaps I should tell you what one of the very astute and alert general authorities said to me when I chanced to mention him the subject of your letter to me. He said, "Oh dear, haven't we rescued him enough times already?" Now I hope you will ponder and pray and come to a basic understanding of fundamental things, and that unless you can on all points, you will remain silent on those where differences exist between you and the brethren.
Oh my gosh.
This is the course of safety. I advise you to pursue it. If you do not, perils lie ahead. It is not too often this day that any of us are told plainly and bluntly what ought to be. I am taking the liberty of so speaking to you at this time and become thus a witness against you if you do not take the counsel. I repeat, I have every good wish for you. Pray that the Lord will bless you and hope that things work out properly and well in your life.
Holy cow.
There's a reason he didn't become prophet. Okay, there's a reason McConkie.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, The whole letter's pretty rough to read. You're like, So, question just is, sometimes, like, I bet other apostles probably would have not written it that way and put it like, I don't think he should have been saying that to Eugene England, like a professor that no one really even knows, just like some guy at BYU.
You're talking about progression between kingdoms, and Bruce Armstrong was that?
Apparently there was differing opinions about whether or not you could progress through, basically if progression after this life in terms of especially like repentance to be able to upgrade from the telestial kingdom to the celestial or so on and so forth was actually kind of like a doctrinal fight in the 70s because people were uncovering new primary sources about what the OG prophet had taught Joseph Smith concerning the matter, and Brigham Young and Hiram Smith and so on and so forth. And so again, the Mormon church does well when it sticks to its guns and not the surrounding Protestant guns.
Do you know?
And surrounding Protestant churches hate the idea of, they love the idea of like the behavior in this world is your test and it's all over.
You
if
die,
you didn't
you're
do
toast.
it our way, you're toast. Let me guess, you're going to say, I know what you're going to say.
Oh no.
Well,
are we doing some
that's where the debate comes from, because if it's all about progressing between kingdoms as in planets that are places, the kingdoms, and it's like, okay, easy, duh. Of course, like you're going to progress from one plane to another. But if it's about a level of glory, then that insinuates another process of deification, another probation, if you will. In which case, it could be very probable that human beings in the next life can incarnate different times to different levels of glories, the verities I will set forth here today. It would also insinuate that on this plane of existence, in this probationary period, a spirit may be able to have multiple mortal probationary periods.
The Viet Cong are ready to progress to the next.
When the Domino's pizza order came to my house, I asked the young man, is this pepperoni or is this sausage? And when he began to explain to me that they had put pepperoni on my pizza, I smacked him in the face like the little degenerate that he really was.
And I said, getting this order wrong will canker your soul.
30 minutes or less. You better take 25 minutes to get me my actual pizza, or I will damn you to hell. You. Okay.
Okay, that is definitely not making
How
it
we not
to
done a bit of McConkey and Boyd K. Packer arguing about something inane?
again, that is definitely not making it to the final cut, but it was hilarious.
Bleep it. That was funny.
Oh, no. Yeah.
I'm glad I was here for that.
You're glad you're here for that. Yeah, as we all are whenever Kwaku speaks.
Come on, there's definitely a bit to be made with you doing the voice of Packer, me doing McConkey about how
brothers and sisters. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Oh, I love Packer so much. I miss that guy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
No, I love him so
everyone has
much.
their apostles, and one prophet of the church, they're like, I don't know about that guy. Everyone does.
He was better on paper than in person.
I
shall we
love
say?
Packer,
Okay,
man. I'm so sad when he died.
Anyway, let us know what you guys think. Is Kwaku right? And we should have, practical blood sport during a general conference, or is Jonah right? And we should do it a la Barnes, or am I right in just simply what I said? I don't know. Let's keep the conversation going alive in the comments. No, let's keep the conversation live in the comments. If you haven't had a chance yet, please make sure you like the video. Also, subscribe to our newsletter on wardradio.com. If you're feeling generous, please make sure that you contribute to the progress, to the success of the show, either on Venmo at Ward Radio or Midnight Mormons, or on the Cash app at Ward Radio as well. We got lots of really cool stuff coming. Merch in the pipeline. Comic books getting read. Getting drawn. We're doing all kinds of super cool stuff. We're glad you could hang out here with us for this and more. Check us out at wardradio.com.
Right now, tell me who you are, get in the car right now. You feel the stars, I want it all right now.
Hey guys, thanks for hanging out with us. If you haven't had a chance yet, please like this video and consider sharing with your friends or subscribing. Also, there should be a video coming up right about here or here where you can continue watching. If you want to visit us on Twitter, we're at Ward Radio Show. If you want to check us out online, we're at wardradio.com. And if you'd like to consider contributing to the program, please check us out at Midnight Mormons or at Ward Radio Show on Venmo. That's one of the best ways you can contribute to the program. Either way, we're glad to have you here. Thanks for hanging out with us, and always check out more on wardradio.com.